Happy, happy weekend, everybody. I'll introduce myself. I'm Kate Kwe, and I work on social media with the Grace Space Art Gallery. Almost all of our team will be joining me today, so yay! We have Pat B. She is the gallery owner, also our moral and online tech support. I always say that because I rely on her for that. Um, we have Tris, our sales intern, who is actually taking up fine arts right now. So we are we are excited to see whatever she has to share if she's willing to share. We have David. He's our or Ged. We have he's our logistics lord and savior. He handles all the logistics for Gray Space. And Sam, who isn't here but will be watching. Sam, she's our boss lady slash project manager slash curator. And right now we're just waiting a bit for things to get settled. But for those of you who haven't seen our promos, we have an ongoing exhibit called Alpaspap. It's an online exhibit and auction for a cause in partnership with the Metro Pysch facility. If you guys are not aware, next month is actually Mental Health Awareness Month. So in celebration, we have decided to hold this exhibit, which is actually an exhibit that Pat has been working on for some time. We have provided materials to our partners in the Metro Pysch facility prior to the exhibit so that they can create all these beautiful artworks that we have. 100% of the proceeds will go to our partner institution. So please, if you'd like to purchase or check out the paintings, you can do so in our Facebook and our Instagram as well. A little bit about our exhibit. So the patients in our partner institution, they might be in limited space like we are now during pandemic, but their imaginations go beyond those four walls. So through painting, our partner patients have created this colorful, fantastical world through their art, if you can see. And it's, I would say for them, it's a form of retelling their experiences through the lens of what they have witnessed, through the lens of how they see the world as well. So you can see all of these, you can see what that looks like in their artworks. And in relation to that, we are having this discussion right now. It's for everyone out there who haven't seen our promos, it's on an art doodle session. So we'll be asking everyone to prepare art materials, paper, maybe if you have, or if it's available to you, so that you could join us as there's our slide. So you can join us as we have our drawing session. Throughout that as well, we'll be discussing with with the participants here some issues that they face or anything that they feel about the topic of mental health. We want this to be open discussion. So if there's anything that might be triggering or anything that might be that people might not want to hear or our participants might not want to discuss, we can of course stop the discussion or move with the next topic. So as stated here, there's a warning for trigger. Just let us know if there's anything that might affect your thoughts. So without further ado, can I ask all our participants to show your lovely faces on camera to maybe share a thing or two about yourselves? All right, to start, do we have, okay, do you want to start? If that's all right with you to share your camera and to say a few words. Hello? Oh no. Okay, how about Eli? Do you want to share something about yourself?
Hi, hello. Is it okay if I turn the camera off though? Is it fine
Oh,
or?
yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
fine.
Okay,
Whatever
thank
you're
you.
comfortable with.
Okay, thank you. Well, do we just introduce ourselves or very
Yeah.
brief introduction? Okay. Yeah, my name is Elay Buena, and I really appreciate what you are doing right now as a movement, and I am really humbled that I'm part of it as well. Especially you mentioned earlier that it's Mental Health Awareness next month, so I think this is really ideal. So going back though, my name is Elay Buena, and I'm 29 years old. I also do some counseling, and I am currently taking my master's degree in psychology. Actually, Gary D is my professor in counseling and psychotherapy, and I invited him to the group as well. So in the mental health side though, I can be pretty open about it. I'm not that reserved when it comes to sharing my story because I really want to help people too. So I was diagnosed with panic disorder. Because of that, my heart gets worn out. Um, and right now I have signs of hyperthyroidism. I'm taking medication for it for my heart whenever I get attacks.
Mhm.
And usually, when that happens, I just try to meditate and like try to divert my attention, not to overwhelm my senses, and just be mindful of what's happening as of the moment. So, yeah, right now, the reason why I'm taking psychology or master's degree in psychology as well, and I'm also doing some counseling, is that I really do want to help people to make sure that they are heard, they're not invalidated as well, and nothing is too big or too small. Like I believe that their feelings and perspectives are subjective. So yeah, anyway, that's it for now, and again, thank you so much for having me.
Nicely put. Nicely put. Hi, thanks as well for being here. Um, Michaela, how about you? Do you want to introduce yourself? I saw your cat a while ago. So cute.
Hi everyone, my name is Micaela Larauri, but you may call me Kyla. I'm 23 years old. I'm a model from Cebu City, Philippines, but I'm currently residing here in Metro Manila. And I want to introduce my therapist. This is Blanky. so, um, yes, I'm so happy to be here. When Patricia told me about this coming up, I was super excited. I was really looking forward to it because I believe mental health is something people need to talk about more often. It's not talked about as much as it should be. People don't think a lot in this day and age. People don't think it's as important, but it really, really is. It's one of the most
Yeah,
important things in the world because it it contributes to how we lead our lives. Very
agree.
important. So I'm super happy to be here. I'm excited for what's coming up next. I'm super excited, super drawn to this. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right. So who else has not said hello? Uh, Aya, do you want to share something?
Hi everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maria Chan. I'm a very good friend of David. Um, I when David shared this link, kasi we have a group chat. So nung shinare niya sa amin, me and my brother, it's Anthony actually yung brother ko, yung Anton Legaspi. So we joined because we're excited and we also understand na with this pandemic, masyado talaga maraming mental health problem. The thing with Philippines is that hindi nila masyado pang ina-acknowledge. Like what Eli said, hindi pa masyadong, yung parang people wants to be heard, they want people to listen and understand. So I guess with this pandemic, what I could say is, sorry, madaling araw na. Uh,
For those of you who don't
um,
know, Aya is in the States right now. So it's 2 a.m.
yes,
there, right? We're
it's
so happy
almost
she's here.
2:30. That's fine. So I guess what you're doing, guys, is actually very important. It would help a lot of people, and I want to listen in because I want to understand more on how I can also help my friends and how how we can also listen more to people having mental illness right now. I mean, even without pandemic, I think marami na talagang mataas yung anxiety. Tapos syempre,
Mm.
nag-pandemic, so mas marami pa talaga ngayon. So what you're doing right now is something very, very important, and I hope that a lot of people will be able to learn from your session. So I look forward learning more from you guys. I'm 37 years old. 37 na ako. So nandito ako sa US. So okay naman dito. So yun lang. So thank you, David, for sharing this link to me.
Hihi. Ayun si David. Okay, sino pa? Victor, do you wanna share in a little something?
Ayan. So, good afternoon, everyone. I am Victor Adrian Sari. I'm 23 years old and I'm currently working as a program officer at Philippine Mental Health Association. So that's a nonprofit organization advocating for mental health and eradicating mental disorders. So with all of the previous participants sharing short or brief introductions, I'm really glad to hear those because I think that as a young advocate, I still have a lot to learn. Kumbaga hindi naman nakakonsentrate lang sa mga advocates yung mga kaalaman na dapat nating matutunan. And it has to be shared to a greater audience, especially to people who might feel left out in a conversation or those who have no access to reliable
Absolutely.
information. So about mental health. So I think that this safe space is a great avenue for us to establish the discourse on mental health and get to know more about the importance of the advocacy. So I'm really excited and looking forward to what we'll be having for this afternoon. Yun lang po. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Who else? Ged or Tris, do you want to share or introduce yourself lang before we get on the discussion? Or
Hello po, I'm Trish po. Ang name ko po is Trisha Di po. Fine art student po ako sa IRIS po. And I'm currently po, nag-OJT po ako ngayon, kaso po hindi po natuloy. So, ayun lang po. Kinakabahan
Okay.
po ako.
Oh, shucks.
Thank you po.
All right. Thanks so much for making the time to be here. All right. So I guess we can start now. So first thing, if you guys have your pen and paper, it would be nice to just doodle as we talk because there are times that words can't fully express what you really feel. It's honestly, it's very difficult to talk about your emotions. It's also difficult to talk about mental health, which I'm sure our panelists have a lot to share. And maybe it would help if we have a little drawing session as we talk. So to start, I guess, I can't tell if everyone is drawing, but I'm doodling. But I guess to start, everyone mentioned here that it's not being talked about a lot. There's not much open discussions about it, especially here in the Philippines. How about in your homes in particular? How is mental health discussed in your homes, or how did you learn about mental health as you grew up, and to what extent? Eli, you want to share?
Oh, okay. Is it regard to the mental health situation at home? Or
I guess in general, like
oh,
what was your first thoughts on mental health? Because
mm-hmm.
I think at home, for me, it wasn't something that talked about a lot because, well, first thing, it's not clear. It's not very clear what mental health was to me. Only, well, I guess it was more physical health. Na if I was doing okay, why should I be feeling sad? And really, that's a big parang misconception na parang just because you're physically okay doesn't mean you're mentally or emotionally okay. And that's something that I learned over the years when I talked with my friends, attended discussions or heard it from professors or people from school. So I guess I want to know what was everyone's first thoughts on it? Maybe at home.
Okay, thank you for for clarifying the question though. For me with regards to mental health, honestly, just like you, it wasn't that much talked about, and I didn't really know much about it. I was more focused before, because I'm an only child. I'm
Mm.
an only child, and I tend to be independent at times when I was in my teenage years. I actually moved out of the house due to some complications when I was 18. So
Mhm.
starting from 18 years old until now, I've already been working. I'm also living alone, not really alone, on my own. So with regards to that experience, that's the time that I'm able to really um, know myself and know the importance of mental health, because like what one of the participants or the panelists said earlier, I completely agree. It affects our lifestyle, it affects everything, how we think, how we socialize with people, how we develop ourselves. So from there I was able to relate that to my working environment and the people that I'm always with. uh, it can be with my friends or it can be with my workmates. So we I actually kind of noticed that there are several um attitude and personalities of different people.
Yeah.
So we are not obliged to like really adjust to each one of them, right? Because we have our own troubles, we have our own demons. So
Mhm.
I really believe that we have to internally take care of ourselves first, so that we can radiate what we give to other people, because like what they say, we can't give what we don't have, right? So I think it really starts with ourselves, knowing ourselves, what triggers us, what things we have to develop. So from there, I think being an only child, it helps, or it helped me um develop this concern for mental health, because
Mhm.
I'm able to uh, get more insights from myself first before I can
Yeah.
be able to, right, before I can be able to take advice or opinion from others. So I think that's the foundation of my interest for mental health.
Hmm. I agree. Yeah, it's definitely something that you should look into yourself. So your own look into yourself first before anything else. Because I think it's gonna be your whole perspective that's or your whole mindset that will affect the way you act or the way you see things now. Um, Mi- Michaela, do you
Hi,
have
can you hear
something to
me?
share? Yes, clearly.
Perfect. So the question was mental health discussed in your homes as you grew up? Is that it?
Yeah, yeah. Or what was your first thoughts on mental health?
Okay. Well, at a very young age, it was not discussed at all, and I feel like it should have been because there were a lot of people in my family that were who are mentally ill. So I felt that that should have been talked about. But it started coming up in our family when I was in my teens, when I started exhibiting symptoms of clinical depression and anxiety.
Mm.
But I feel that if I had known about this at a younger age, I could have been more aware. But I'm glad it still came out in my teens. I was still quite young, and but then I feel like it shouldn't have come out when I got sick. But then I healed a lot from it, and that's when I realized that there were actually so many people in my family who were mentally ill, both on my mom and my dad's side. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, but then as I got sick, we started talking about it more. People were more concerned. People showed more affection towards me. They tried to understand me as much as possible, and I got help, which is very important. And yes, that's it. That's the extent of how it was discussed in my family.
Oh, that's true. I think, well, the first step always is to acknowledge it or to know that it is happening or it exists, right? So
Yes.
I'm glad that you guys were able to talk about it actually, because I think for some people they never get to talk about it, and they're in a state of confusion why they're feeling this way,
Exactly.
not knowing that it's these factors that are causing it.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true. Especially when it's very confusing for a child to feel these symptoms without knowing what they really are. So I feel that starting to talk about mental health at a very young age is very important. I feel that they should introduce it into the education system. It should be brought up at home, even if no one is showing signs of mental illness. It's good to show awareness. It's because we will come across people in our lives with mental illness if we don't have it. It's part of life. We will come across so many people, and we should know how to approach them, approach the
Yeah,
situation.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed totally.
Mhm.
Victor, as an advocate, so what's your thoughts on, well, I guess if you could answer the question as well, and also what's your thoughts on this awareness or having more people more know more about this issue? Because I think you mentioned that when you introduced yourself.
Yes, thank you for that, Miss A. So perhaps I'll start my sharing with, personally, I feel like discussion on mental health, especially in the household, has become
Yeah.
a taboo for the longest time, especially here in the Philippines.
Mm,
And there's so much stigma surrounding it that we fail to recognize and even appreciate the essence of taking care of our mental health. And only now, during the time of a global health crisis or pandemic, that we're able to take a peek on why we should really take care of our mental health holistically. So basically,
mm,
I feel like for mental health in the households, it's not much talk about. I completely agree with the previous participants ko, no? Parang hindi talaga siya pinag-uusapan din sa Filipino families. And para siyang iniiwasang topic or discussion. And right now, when I started working in a nonprofit mental health organization, that's the time that I got the chance to really shed light on the misconceptions oftenly associated about mental health, especially when it becomes intertwined with mental disorders. So mental health is actually a positive concept.
mm,
So we must not be afraid to talk about it. The thing is, we should really define the boundaries between mental health and mental disorders. What people often refer to is the mental disorder. So doon po nagmumula talaga
mm,
yung stigma on the conversations
mm,
or discourse about mental health. But mental health in general and as a concept is a positive word or set of words. Kumbaga, hindi natin siya dapat katakutan, pag-usapan because it matters eh. Our physical health, our social, emotional health, spiritual health are all connected to our mental health. That's why we should really take time to talk about it. And as you asked nga po, Miss Kate, kanina, no, parang how, as an advocate, am I able to really spread the word and intensify or amplify the awareness raising? Siguro po, more than just the advocacy work that I do, is I practice it. Like, I internalize all of my learnings with my friends, with the spaces that I've been with, especially with my closest colleagues, family members. If we have the
mm,
chance to talk about our feelings and just, just share our sentiments, have deep conversations about life, about what's going on, especially during this pandemic. So I am really privileged and glad to know that I am taking part in the conversation and I can be a catalyst for that. You know, growing up as well without much knowledge on mental health, I feel like it's my opportunity to continuously educate and inform, especially my friends who are not much knowledgeable on mental health. So I think just by continuously talking about it and being engaged in the conversation will help a lot. Because from that point, no, awareness and tapping the consciousness of people, that's the time that we are able to really imbibe or fully internalize that we have a crucial role to play as an
mm.
advocate and as a member of the community. So yun lang po.
Yeah, that's great. I guess I especially like what you said that mental health, people associate mental disorders with mental health, and that's why the whole concept of mental health is negative, no, for some people, but it's supposed to be positive. And um as Michaela and Eli have been talking about, it's important that we share or have it in open discussion. And you Um, Aya, how about you? how what how do you think mental health was brought up or discussed in your home? And I think also you mentioned in your intro that you'd also like to learn more about it so that you can help as well your the friends or the people that you encounter. You can better help or understand them.
Yes. So, mental health was not really discussed sa family ko. Though my sister who passed away a few months ago, she was a doctor, pero hindi masyadong na-address kasi IM siya. So, hindi siya on that side. Pero I guess
Mm,
I'm blessed to have a family na somehow religious kasi kami. So, in terms of the mental health, somehow it's being covered but not really um yung mga technical aspects. It's more of we want to make sure that the family or ourselves would be physically, emotionally and
yeah.
psychologically stable enough. So for example, may mga napagdaanan kami as a family na medyo malala. My father was in a coma for 5 years. So the
Mm,
whole brother and sisters, I was the youngest. So at that time, parang mga 20 plus pa lang ako, I had to work my ass off. So, marami kaming napagdaanan na sa family, but what we try to always look into things for us to make sure na pinaka-stable namin is yung mental, yung psychological. Kasi kapag
mm,
hindi kami maayos mag-isip, everything's gonna fall apart. So, I agree with what Victor said that the problem with mental health is that it's always associated with mental disorder. Pag sinabing, uy, mental health, may issue or whatever, ang iisipin nila, bakit may problema ba ako? Tililing ba ako? Something like that. So that's the challenge sa Philippines. Dito kasi sa US, ang naiintindihan ko is, mas naiintindihan siya kasi mas maraming ano dito. Yung
yeah.
parang, napaka-open nila na may psychologist, yung may mga psychotherapist, kasama
Yeah.
sa insurance namin, automatic yan, pinopromote ng companies namin. May mga company kami na mag-change lang ng schedule, they have a guidance counselor na talagang ika-counsel kayo and everything. So parang sabi ko, ay dito sa US talagang sobra nilang binibigyan ng halaga, which is dapat. Kasi if you're
Yeah.
not mentally stable, how can you function with everything? So it's a very important topic. And at the same time, I guess my family was able, or I myself was able to have somehow, I guess, healthy kami mentally, because whenever we have issues or family struggles and anything, and because we're also religious, it helped us a lot kasi we always kind of like try to find a way saan yung blessing. We open up to each other. We try to open up, we listen to one another, we try to understand where everyone's coming from. Even if we don't understand how they feel, we want them to somehow magsabi lang, anong nararamdaman mo? How do you feel about this? Bakit ganito? Then we'll be able to address the issue by then. So I guess kapag mga ganong issue like sa amin, and also to share, I always tell my friends, even David, whenever we have issues personally, work, whatever, look at the way na bright yung side. Look at the brighter light in a sense. If not, talagang sobrang bagsak ka na, look at other people. I always watch documentaries. May sinasabi silang like pain over pain or something like that. Pero para sa akin, siguro when I see other people that they're suffering more than I'm suffering, medyo mas nai-ease in a sense na, okay, I'm more blessed. So medyo dun, yun yung way ko sa sarili ko to somehow make my mental health healthier, I guess, if that's even a term, kind of like that.
Mm,
Yep.
okay. I I I think maybe mental well-being when you say it instead of like mental health. But
Yeah.
I see more of a positive. I see mental health in a positive light when it's placed in mental like well-being. Because as you said, how can we function if we're not okay internally? Um oh, and we have I think Hazel joined us. Hi Hazel, do you want to introduce yourself now? We were just discussing how mental health was brought up at home. So if you could maybe say something short and share your thoughts on the question as well. Hazel. Oh no. Hazel, can you hear us naman? Oh no, she's on mute. Okay, I think maybe we will get back to Hazel when she is not on mute. But anyways, I found everything that you guys said super interesting, and I want to ask, since this was something that Victor brought up, what are maybe like misconceptions, or what are common misconceptions when it comes to mental disorders or mental health? And are there issues that you faced in the past with how people perceive mental health? Um, let's start with Eli in order.
Okay. With the misconceptions of mental health, though, I
Yeah.
agree din sa kanila. There is a lot of negativity when it comes to mental health. Um, Pag ganun, laging sinasabi nila na baliw o kaya they're weak, right? They can't handle yung stresses ng everyday life. Pero
Mm,
bakit yung iba kaya? So you just have to cheer up, you just have to think positive and everything else. Parang yun yung lagi nilang sinasabi, but they don't know that um actually mental health talaga, it's also as important as physical health para sa akin kasi each of us have our own capabilities, then each of us have our own potential.
yeah.
You have to work at it. So parang physical health, you also have to work at it. And some might work harder than others. Pero, you should never belittle someone else's mental health situation. Kasi they fight anxiety on a daily basis with things na hindi natin alam.
Yeah.
So, 'di ba? Things might look easy kapag they say na you just have to forget this, you have to just think positive. Pero it's not that easy when like your brain is wired ng sobra na hindi mo alam yung gagawin mo. So, um, yeah, the misconceptions are it's really hard din dito sa Pilipinas na it's not that talked about. I think the reason why then is because I think Filipinos are known for their resiliency, right? 'Di ba?
Mm.
'Di ba kapag bumabagyo or kung ano man, we always find a way to be resourceful and everything like that. So I think it's being generalized sa lahat na dapat ganito ka, dapat masayahin ka and everything else. But I think that's where the misconception came from. And it's harder than ngayon this pandemic kasi they don't understand. Each of us have our own subjective triggers and feelings,
Yeah.
right? So I also agree na it's good that it's talked about. Not necessarily lagi mo siyang ine-express, but you have to know for yourself how you would process it. So don't jump into conclusions agad na okay, ito gagawin ko. You just have to know first what's really bothering you. What are your triggers? What do you need to address? So I think the misconception is yung sa resiliency nga ng
Mm.
Filipino. So ayun po. Yun lang.
Yeah, I agree. I think the word resiliency has, although I would say it's positive, it's becoming a little negative these days because, right, it's being connoted with the idea that whatever life throws at you, you're supposed to be happy with it, which isn't true naman for a lot of people. Again, everyone is experiencing things very differently. Everyone has their own demons, as one of you mentioned. And while I think positive, like staying positive naman is a good thing, and it's also a way that some people can cope. Um, it's There's also different things that people need to take note of. Na parang you can't always um, be happy, or there's an obstacle to being happy pa. And Kyla, do you wanna say something about it as well, like the misconceptions, or maybe something that Eli shared, if you want to add to it?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. So, the question was my misconceptions about mental health.
Yeah, or any misconceptions, not just your own, but maybe people's misconceptions about mental health that may have affected you.
Okay. This started when I was around in my teens. I went to a very Catholic high school, and no, grade school and high school. So when I spoke up about my mental health, they told me that all I needed to do was pray. And of course, I believe prayer is very important for many people, but it's not the solution to combating mental health. I believe seeking medical professional advice is super important because this is a chemical imbalance in our brain. There's so many things going on in our brain we don't know about, and we can't just rely on something as simple as prayer for that. Although prayer is very important, we need to seek out other mediums to help us with our mental health and our mental illnesses. So, but the other misconceptions I've experienced about mental health is just that you're lazy, you're how do you say this? You have no confidence. You just want to sleep all day. People think that symptoms associated with depression
Yeah.
are people simply being lazy. And I hate that misconception because we don't choose to be. We don't want to be. We just want to lead normal lives as well, but then our mental illness hinders us from doing so. So I wish that other people, especially those who do not have any experience with handling mental health, become more compassionate and start to show more solidarity in the cause, even though they don't know much about it or haven't experienced it themselves. I believe it's very important to um to reciprocate the feelings we want to feel. If you want to be loved, show love. So I believe that's very important. And those are the misconceptions I've experienced with mental health.
Agreed. I love how you put it. First, like be compassionate to people. Also, if you want to be loved, love. That's really well put. For me, I I do think I also came from a Catholic high school and grade school, and
Oh,
yeah,
no, that's
and
okay. Some are good.
yeah, and but no, I do think that not all naman encourage prayer lang.
Mm-hmm.
But I think maybe in spaces like that, there's always parang other priorities um over mental health or mental well-being. So but I think that in this pandemic there's been a shift because we're at home, we have to really face our own thoughts.
Yes.
So I think it's great that slowly we're getting more there's more people talking about it, and people are it's gaining more awareness on these topics.
Yeah.
um Victor, do you want to share naman? Actually, you've mentioned well, I think you mentioned first that misconception that mental mental health is often associated with mental disorder. What do you feel is how what do you think is a way that we can sort of change that perception, starting with our family and our friends?
Ayun po. So, pasensya na po kung may mamarinig kayong mga unnecessary noises kasi medyo maingay po sa paligid. But right now, siguro I must, ano po, like parang I would like to share points on what I feel are the misconceptions about mental health. So, I think that, um,
Hello? Oh no, Victor, na-mute ka ata. Oh no.
hello po, Miss
Yan.
A. Sorry po,
You're
may
back.
inasikaso lang.
Okay lang,
Ayun
okay
po.
lang.
Ayun, so I would like to share some 4 points po on some misconceptions about mental health. First po, I think that people sometimes are unaware that we all have mental health. Parang they are easily captured with the idea that mental health is just for people with mental illness or disorders, where in fact, we all have mental health. Second po, people with mental disorders or illnesses cannot function properly in the society or cannot contribute, where in fact, me myself, I personally witnessed working in a nonprofit organization how people with mental disorders are able to thrive with their own abilities and capacities and even parang for some people na with mental disorders are even parang advancing to people na normally functioning naman. So nakaka-proud lang po malaman na yun. And I think that some people must realize na meron silang kayang gawin din even though they have mental illness or disorders, and these are not hindrances to their capabilities as individuals. Number three po, admitting that you need help or parang help seeking natin is a form of weakness. That's a misconception. Meron nga po akong narinig doon na parang it should be normalized just like how we go to a dentist when we have to parang tooth problems. So parang just like how we prioritize or take care of our physical health is very much the same, that we must also take care of our mental health. So admitting that we should seek help, especially from a professional, should be slowly, parang gradually normalized, and not to be afraid when we talk about those things, diba? And lastly po,
Yeah.
yung acknowledging the full spectrum of emotions, because for some people, especially when spaces with your friends, pag meron kang nararamdamang mabigat or parang problema within yourself, so it's parang sasabihin lang, it's easy for them to say, to just dismiss the feelings, parang hayaan mo na yan, just switch it off, parang ganon. So sometimes people fail to realize that we have a full spectrum of emotions and that we must learn to sit in with those emotions. So if ito yung nararamdaman mo for that particular day, just go through with it. Hindi mo kailangan siyang i-deny yung emotions na nararamdaman mo for that particular moment in your life, because it's also important. Di ba meron nga pong film yung ano ba yan, parang yung sa emotions, may film nun sa Disney
Yung
Pixar.
Inside
Inside Out.
Yeah.
Ayun po. Kaya parang from that film, napakalalim niya in a way that it tackles the full breadth and width of our emotions. That's why it's important that when we talk about mental health, we also acknowledge our feelings. It's important that we also take note of our triggers, what makes us tick, di ba? And what are the important factors that we must consider when we parang when we dig deeper into ourselves. And I think for your last question po, Miss Kate, na parang how am I able to just parang mapaspread pa ang word? Siguro, yun nga, it starts with the household. I think most of the time, doon po nagsisimula talaga eh. The formative years of children, of adolescents, are being, affected gravely, that they bring it even into adulthood stage, yung para mga issues nila, yung baggage nila, wherein it becomes their mental health, parang disorder or illnesses na later on if it gets parang hindi siya naasikaso, ganon. So I think that from that perspective, parents should be parang aware of what their children are feeling. Parang it's important that from the household level, doon pa lang is open na sila to talk about what they feel, no matter how light or how heavy they are experiencing. Syempre, magre-ripple effect na yan to the friends. When we bring that culture of being open, warm, and compassionate about what you feel, it also lets you step into the empathy. Empathy, parang you learn how to step on other people's shoes. So parang doon parang malalaman mo na ay hindi lang pala ang nararamdaman ko ang nagmamatter, parang other people's feelings matter too. And yun, from family to friends, to school, to your colleagues, and up to the community level. When you continuously talk about it and when you're open about these things, doon natin mas na-shed light on how we must really take care of our mental health. So, yun po.
Well, it's what you said is very loaded, and I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. Yeah, I really enjoyed what you mentioned about experiencing the full spectrum of emotions. I've been reading somewhere that a lot of people just look for happiness alone, but the truth is you won't just experience happiness in your life. There's gonna be a lot of things that there's gonna be a lot of emotions like sadness or anger that you'll go through, and if you just parang invalidate that, you'll miss out rin on parang the insights that you gain when you're sad or you're anxious or you're angry, if you're just looking for happiness. So I think, yeah, what you've been saying now, the full spectrum of emotions is really important. Um, I agree also with what you said. Na, actually, I think everyone would agree naman here with what you're saying, to normalize this, normalize mental health. Do not deny it, and of course, to be warm and compassionate when it comes to this. And also, like what you were saying with starting in the household, with mental health awareness starting in the household or in the homes, because the way children will treat these things will carry on into their adulthood, and they can perpetuate this onto their children, so it could affect prime generations to come. I think that's important. You also mentioned, of course, na parang we should make it like going to the dentist. Treat it less if you're going to the dentist, yung mga mental health checks. And I wanted to ask Aya, actually, since I think in the States you mentioned na they're really more open about it, no? That they have
Mm-mm.
parang counselors or talk to you when you want to change shifts or something. What's your thoughts naman on that? I think I actually want to ask na parang what's the main difference there and here?
Siguro kasi sa Philippines, sorry for the term ha, pero kasi minsan ang mga Pinoy may pagka-hipokrito. Yung tipong alam naman nila na merong posibleng ganyang problema, pero they try to dismiss people. Kasi kunwari,
Mm.
may pinag-usapan lang na na-depress or something, yung iba sasabihin,
Mm.
ay, ang arte mo, ang dami mong hanash, yung mga ganun lang. So, yun yung nakaka-sad sa Philippines kasi hindi ganun ka-open na there is an issue. Malaking issue yan. Hindi lang nila ina-address. Ang maganda lang dito, people are more open, people are more vocal. Maybe because in the Philippines, we're in a conservative country. Dahil, I guess, almost marami sa atin, Catholic school. So, I guess sa Philippines kasi, ako, nung bata ako, kapag may nalalaman ako mga ganyan, iniisip ko, ang unang sasabihin ko, ay baka it runs in the genes. Yun yung misconception, which is actually posible,
Mm.
di ba? I mean, sa
Yeah.
history. Pero, there are times na nung tumatanda na ako, ang lagi ko nang iniisip, anong childhood niyan? Kasi, like what Victor said, it boils down to ano yung inner circle mo, ano yung
Mm.
family mo, ano yung environment mo. So, nung tumanda na ako, then nagstay na ako dito sa US, mas naintindihan ko na, like, I have a friend na sobrang wala akong idea talaga na nagkaroon pala siya ng depression. Yung talagang clinically diagnosed as depression. Then,
Mm.
sobrang okay kami pa nag-uusap. Then, bigla niya sinabi na, uy, Aya, alam mo ba, may open ako sa'yo ha.
Yeah.
Alam mo ba, na-depress ako, tapos I'm taking medications na. Ang una sabi ko sa kanya, oh, that's good. At least na-address mo na. At
Mm.
least, yung first step is acceptance. Yung when they already know na they can't handle it anymore. He's a very religious person. Walang issue sa family, everyone's okay sa trabaho,
Yeah.
this and that.
Uh-huh.
Pero kasi it's a chemical imbalance. So dun yun naintindihan na he needed help, yung professional help na. So I guess ngayon, whenever I hear someone na depressed and all, I try to talk to them. That's why I joined this panel discussion kasi mas gusto kong malaman kung paano ko i-approach, paano ko mas maiintindihan, ano yung mga possible na i-advise mo, this and that. Because I can
Mhm.
only do so much. I mean, I'm not a healthcare worker, wala naman akong background na psychologist or na psychology. So, hindi ko talaga kayang i-address lahat. But, I guess with this, everything that's happening, awareness is very important. Filipino needs to know na this is not something na masabi lang or nakikiuso lang or something like that. It's a reality.
Yeah.
And I guess I hope that people would learn how to ask for help, which is ang unang step is for them to acknowledge that there's a problem or there's something that they need professional help. So I guess for me, more on listening, and just being compassionate, like what Victor said, and understanding everything about, what's happening. Awareness, like itong ginagawa nyo.
Yeah, true. I I definitely, but I'm so glad naman na, your friend was able to seek help, because I do think it is also hard for people to, well, for me personally, and for my friends who've experienced it, it's hard to ask for help when they don't understand what's happening to them, or when the people around them are telling them na, oh, ano lang yan, uh, parang, it's not a big issue. So I'm I really think that it is important to get help. And it's also important to listen to your friends, to be sensitive, to be compassionate, as Victor and Michaela said, to them, to step into their shoes. So some of you guys mentioned, oh, hang on, Hazel, can you hear us and can you speak?
Yeah, I
Yay!
can hear you.
Great. Hazel, could you introduce yourself a bit, and then maybe if there's anything you want to say about mental health, or if you could answer any of the questions or topics that we've been sharing.
Oh, I'm Hazel Villanueva. I'm a mother of two. And
Mhm.
I'm a property administrator.
Okay. Hello, Hazel. Nice to meet you. So
Hello.
glad you're here to join us as well. Okay, so I guess I wanted to ask you naman, parang what's your thoughts on mental health? Just so we can also hear from you.
Actually, before I nung sa work ko, I was a secretary in school,
Mm-hmm.
and marami kaming mga students na with mental health problems or disorders, like they have schizophrenia, depression, anxiety. um Sometimes they go to me and ask for advice, and sometimes it um actually most of the time I'm not sure if I'm helping her or I'm helping them, kasi uh kasi hindi pa naman ako aware dun sa hindi ako aware
Mm-hmm.
sa pag converse sa mga ganong sa mga may ganong um experience or pinagdadaanan. Then I'm not sure if tama yung na-advise ko sa kanila, kasi parang blank lang yung facial expressions nila. Parang nakikinig lang sila ganun.
Mm.
Then I have this dapat nandito siya, yung pinsan ko.
Oh
Yung
no.
pinsan ko kasi meron siyang bipolar disorder daw.
Mm-hmm.
Then she always ask, parang wala siyang trust sa sarili niya.
Mm.
That's why parang she always other people, parang she always ask other people kung tama ba yung ginawa ko? Tama ba yung nasabi ko? May mali ba akong nasabi? Parang ganun.
Mm.
Then she always brought up this, siguro dahil bipolar ako, kaya kaya
Mm.
kaya ko nararamdaman yun, yung ganun.
Yes.
Then we have two aunties kasi that has mental health disorder. I don't know if it runs in the genes, but pero accepted nung pinsan ko na yun na baliw siya. Like that. Parang negative agad yung tawag nito, yung conception about the mental health word.
Yeah.
And here in the Philippines, hindi ko naman nila lahat, pero parang here in the Philippines, pag yung family mo nalaman na merong bipolar disorder or anything na related sa mental health state, parang kinakahiya nila.
Mm,
Parang yun
yeah.
lang yung napansin ko.
Well, that's actually, as shared by our other panelists, that's also one of the hardships that they face. Some of the hardships that they've faced over the years, because as you said, the perception behind mental health is negative. But I'm glad naman that you're able to join the discussion, because also shared by our panelists na the first step is often acknowledging it, discussing it, or sharing your thoughts on it, or sharing what you feel, especially on this sensitive issue. Just so you can learn from others, and that you can know in how to treat it or how to deal with it. But I'm glad that there's people who are talking to you, asking for advice. Because I think listening to them is also a very good way to help them,
Yes.
to know that you're there for them. No.
Mm-mm.
I think. Oh, Biu is back. Hi, Biu. Hello. Okay. So I think everyone mentioned like seeking medical help. So I wanted to ask any of you there, especially if there are also, if are people watching are experiencing the same problems but have not figured out what to do, or how to address this. Do you think what do you feel about medical professionals? Are there dangers in self-diagnosis? Or what could be the problems leading up to that? Yes, Pat, do you have something to share?
Yeah. Actually, with
Jane.
your with your question, what are the dangers of self-diagnosis, and should it be a cause of invalidation? So, personally, it was hard for me to get a diagnosis. First of all, because it is expensive. Here in the Philippines, it will probably cost you like minimum of 1,500 to visit uh, a professional. And that's like one of the lower ones, diba? Here, hi panelists, diba? Okay. So first of all, it was very hard. Other than that, we have a lot of things that are circulating within social media, uh, not necessarily helpful all the time. Of course, there are people, social
Yeah.
groups, and everything like that. But then there are also dangers in terms of self-diagnosis, because people may think that they're depressed, but actually it's actually just maybe some hormones in their current state. Um, Sometimes they take these online quizzes, but then for me it's really best to go to an expert. But of course that is very hard, since we have to put food on the table first before our health. That's the prognosis of the Filipino mental health awareness thing. Kailangan pagkain muna, and if not, sasabihin nila na oh sabihin nila na tinatamad lang siya. Sinasabi, parang it's nothing. Basta, for me, binabaliwala siya. And if I were to tell anyone, it would be best to search online. There are a lot of free consultations online. Doesn't have to be paid. Try those, yung mga free trial. But definitely talk to an expert, because it gives you a sense of relief, and relief from your anxiety that hindi lang pala ikaw ito. You're feeling this way not just because it's normal, but actually maybe there's something wrong with your chemical imbalance, diba? So That's why I think it's very much like yung 1.5. Sana you have some budget. Get a diagnosis properly.
Is it
True.
okay to add to that? Sorry.
Yeah.
Because I really agree with what Ms. Pat said. Well, as actually a practicing counselor as well, I have lots of people come up to me and tell me that they've been self-diagnosing too. So when you say depression, depression is a psychological state. Actually, it's a mental health terminology. To
Mhm.
best put, it's different than sadness. So basically, for me, self-diagnosis is definitely not advisable. Although it's really great that we are aware of our mental health and we actively seek answers
Mm.
by consulting Dr. Google, right? We always go to Google to get the answers when you're feeling this. However, it's actually not ideal to conclude that you have one condition. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be a bit more technical here.
No, it's fine. Awareness.
It's not ideal to conclude that you have a depression or a specific disorder over another. If you reach a diagnosis, it can be a very complex and complicated process, especially when you have symptoms associated with numerous mental illnesses, right? So,
Mm.
for example, if you have depression or anxiety, it can result to maybe other disorders like schizophrenia, bipolar disorders. It's different. We have different symptoms for different disorders that may overlap one another. So that's particularly dangerous when you're self-diagnosing, um, especially when you're in denial about your symptoms. 'Di ba? Since if you are already unstable, how will you know that you have this kind of symptom if you're gonna self-diagnose, right?
Mm.
So not only is it actually not advisable, but it can be dangerous too. Like it's if you jump to conclusions about a conditions you're suffering from, you may like begin wrongful treatment, or worse, it can lead to a whole different direction, which can make your feelings worse, right?
Yeah.
So I agree earlier that when someone self-diagnoses their own psychological feelings, they may miss a medical disease. Just to put it out there, a medical disease or condition that contributes to your symptoms, like what Miss Pat said. It may have
Mhm.
something to do with the hormonal imbalance, chemical imbalance. There are instances when you yourself miss something that you cannot see, right? So
Mhm.
I agree that seeking professional help, I know it's really expensive, but I think when we invest it in the right expenses, the results are long term naman. Hindi naman siya band-aid solution lang. So that's
Mm.
why the psychologists and psychiatrists, they spend years learning about different disorders. They spent years learning about the syndromes for different disorders and how to diagnose carefully as to avoid misdiagnosing our clients and providing wrongful advice or treatment. So yeah, they take board exams and also review delicate information, because it's not just something you get from like the internet alone or Dr. Google alone. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that about self-diagnosis.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So you heard it from our professional, Eli. Um, be wary of self-diagnosing. And also, I think Michaela and Victor also mentioned that it's important really to get to seek medical help. Seek medical help to have, to get your diagnosis straight. I wanted to ask as well if anyone here is undergoing therapy or medication. Maybe you could share your experiences with that, if that's okay, if it's not triggering for you.
I can share.
Okay, game.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say that Eli is totally on point. She's totally correct. Self-diagnosis is very dangerous, and I know this from experience. I was diagnosed with clinical depression at age 14, but then little did I notice a misdiagnosis. But then maybe late teens na mga 18, 19, I started realizing I don't feel clinically depressed. I feel like mentally ill, but I don't feel like it's the correct diagnosis. So instead of going to a doctor, there for a bunch of years I wasn't seeing one because I felt like I was okay, but I actually wasn't. I thought I had other illnesses, and I didn't know what to do about it until I had to wait to get a really bad episode before I got to see a medical professional and was later on diagnosed with bipolar 1 disorder. And ever since then, I have to say that was, although it's sad to be diagnosed in the sense that, oh no, I'm sort of in denial. I don't want to have this illness. I don't want to be labeled or anything. But it's
Mhm.
because that's the start of your journey towards getting better.
Yeah.
That's because you start to take medications. Your doctors, medical professionals, they'll start to notice your symptoms. They'll address them. They'll see which one's better for you. And ever since my diagnosis, I've been feeling okay, not naman better, because in the beginning I was on like a trial and error phase in terms of medications. So if I may, I won't make this super long, but then in the beginning of my bipolar journey, I was 19 when I got diagnosed. I
Mm-hmm.
was on a bunch of medications because there's, although how do you say this? Not a certain medication is for everyone with bipolar disorder. It really depends on your symptoms, on your level, and everything. How often you get manic and depressive episodes, and apparently
Yeah.
I was getting more manic episodes than depressive. So my doctor
Mm-hmm.
tried to reach out by saying you need to take these certain medications. So I was taking about 5 medications for 1 year and was getting the worst side effects. So one of those medications was
Oh.
lithium. I'm not sure if you've heard of them, but lithium is actually found in batteries. But in it's actually, we don't eat batteries,
Huh?
but then it's super it's treatment for bipolar disorder and also epilepsy. In low doses, it treats bipolar disorder. In large doses, it's for epilepsy. But then
Mm-hmm.
the effect is rapid weight gain. So in about 1 year, without really noticing, I gained around 60 pounds and I became very unhealthy, and I didn't know what to do. I'm like, do I quit my medications, or do I stay with it but then remain very unhealthy? But then
Yeah.
I decided we can shift to another medication and we can try how that works with you. And that was around early 2018 when I finally changed my medication, and ever since then I feel like my mental health has improved. I'm still living with bipolar disorder. I still get episodes sometimes. That's okay, but they're controlled, which is good. And that's what I want because I want to lead a controlled life. I want to be in control of my emotions, of my moods and everything. So ever since then, I've been thriving really in terms of my mental health. Although there are some days where everyone gets their mental health day, but then yes, ever since early 2018 I've been really progressing, and it had to do a lot with patience and seeking medical advice in the first place. And it's good to see a good doctor. But then regarding what Pat said, of course it's not readily available to everyone. It can be expensive, but I'll tell you, there I also done online consultations, and there I found one for 1,000 kaya pa, pero I want to let people know that even if you have to save for it, it's worth it. Really worth it because it changes you. It changes your mood. It changes your outlook on life. You'll start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel once you're on medications and once you seek therapy and professional help. So, and just a little side note, I'm super connected with Metro Psych. They are the best. I love them so much. My psychiatrist is from Metro Psych, and I have been seeing her for 6 years, and it's been amazing. And wow, you should check them out. Little plug right there. So yes, that's all I have to say regarding that. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you. Um, so anyone else would like to share their experiences maybe? Or if their acquaintances experiences on this, or your thoughts on therapy and medication, or questions actually, since we have here Eli to answer them.
It's okay.
I
Um,
Yeah.
I can share about my journey, I guess, with mental health. So I was diagnosed with MDD, which is major depressive disorder, last January 2019. And I've been taking medications called sertraline or Exultin. It's basically the um sertraline. Help me out here, Eli. Sertraline. um,
Antidepressant, is that right? Is it an
yes,
antidepressant?
it's
Oh, okay.
basically the serotonin, that hormone in your head that makes you feel good. I guess
That's
some
it.
people, yeah. So some people, I guess, lack it, and I guess that I am that some people. I also was prescribed Abilify, in very small doses though, because they weren't they weren't sure if the bipolar disorder is there. But so, but I the thing about, Kate,
Yeah.
the thing about medications is that what I don't like about it, personally, I don't know about the
Mm.
others, but some of them actually, like Kyla said, uh, it induces weight gain. And
Ah.
for me, if I do like gain a lot of weight, that's when I start feeling bad about my body, right? And once I feel bad about my body, it's gonna affect my mental health, and then it's gonna be a cycle. So
Mm.
I guess that's also where Kylo was coming from in terms of trying out different medications. Not all works for the same people, so that's why you gotta work with your counselors. You gotta work with your psychiatrists. Everyone has to work together because these are experts. They know what's best for us, diba? This is what they've studied. This is what they went college and extra school for, diba? So um let's work with them instead of trying to defy, trying to work against.
Yeah.
Minsan we think na parang nagmamarunong. Oh, sometimes na parang old school na yan yung mga approaches niya. But actually, these are studies already, and the numbers show that it actually helps. Medication helps, counseling helps, and even um, doing like the meditation, that kind of um progression or education works for yourself too. So
Yeah.
that's my journey on medication. And in terms of therapy, I've sought out maybe like three different therapists. Because that's the thing. Once you
Mm.
start seeing a therapist, you'll feel like na parang, sino ba tong tao na to? She's exploiting my whole life. She's asking about all the parang sensitive, private parts of my life. And you'll be like, I know what she's gonna say already. But the thing is, in the next three sessions, she's actually gonna be your worst enemy. She's gonna ask the deepest and hardest questions of your life, and it's gonna make you think. So personally, parang nagagalit nga ako sa therapist ko. In my head, of course. In my head, parang, sino pa to? Nakakainis na siya. So parang, can you just stop? Just stop. That's it. So,
Hi lang, full
uh,
spectrum of emotions daw, sabi ni Victor.
Victor. Okay, hi, Victor. So, um, it's also like expert. Like, if you're talking to a friend, you don't always go to one friend for everything. So you can try out different counselors if you have the budget, of course. And I know that there are some online stuff that you can seek out for. I
Yeah.
personally tried. I don't know if I can plug this, pero Ateneo Cefam.
Mhm. I know
Uh,
also empath. Has anyone encountered?
Empath.
Yeah.
Yeah, Empath.
Yeah.
So there
Okay.
are a lot of free ones out there. They're asking for donations, and then donation siya. So
Uh-huh.
up to you how much you're gonna give and everything. Yeah. So if
Mm.
anyone else wants to share their medication or therapy history, that would be great.
I have a question now, actually. I haven't actually taken medication or therapy. That's why I guess I'm here trying to listen in on what everyone has to say about it. Um, I guess do you build like dependency on your medication, or is it something that's what I think I'm not sure if it's something it's negative to say, but it's what I hear from a lot of people who are hesitant with medication. Na parang, what if you build dependency on it now or something? Let's hash it out here. Let's clear Let's clear it out para, people are aware that it's
Is that me? I saw the chat. Well, with regards to dependency, I really I identify because I'm also and I'm currently in medication too. So with Mom Pat and Mom Michaela, that's right though. With the medication, it's mostly trial and error as well.
Mhm.
Especially with the dosage. For my first try of medication, the dosage were too low. So I had to work with my
Mm.
counselor to try and get the with my psychiatrist rather, to try and get the right dosage. So after a few weeks of trying, I was able to get the right amount where I wasn't too sleepy. My
Mm.
appetite was okay. And just to address what Mom Pat said regarding the weight gain, with serotonin, the sertraline though, any medication that helps you boost your serotonin, because we know serotonin is it's the hormone that's responsible for your mood, right? The being happy. It Your serotonin also is responsible for your appetite. So that's the reason why you have to actually prioritize and try to get the right dosage that's right for you. And also it's not just with medication, you also have to work with your physical health as well. So everything goes hand in hand. So meron ka medication, may exercise, just being with yourself and the right amount of social activity as well. With regard to dependency, we really recommend not to stop your medication. So for example, you're feeling okay na for like a month or two of your medication for antidepressants and all, it's always best to consult your psychiatrist if you're gonna stop or if you're gonna continue. Kasi
Mm.
what will happen, it's not really codependency that will happen. Mangyayari dyan is your psychiatrist might recommend a lower dosage hanggat hindi mo na siya kailangan.
Mm.
So it really depends. And I just have a quick question though. Do you guys have like, are you kind of confused of what the differences are between psychologists, counselor, and psychiatrists? Because I always get that question a lot. Okay. Um, I'm sorry. Am I talking too much? Because I really want
No,
to share.
no,
I
we'd
think
love to
it's
hear
really
this.
important din kasi. Okay. For the counselor kasi, so guidance counselors, they are more of processing. So we have what we call free association sa counseling. So free association is where the patient or the client just speaks and talks about anything they want. So that's what the counselor does. They just hear and they just listen and then they help the patients process it. Ang
Mhm.
psychologists, they are licensed, of course, licensed psychologists. They can help you. They will work with you every session. So wala namang online session or session ng psychiatrist na first session mo pa lang is okay, may gantong disorder ka na. That's not
Mm.
hindi siya practice talaga. So that's why like Ma'am Michaela, I think you were working with your psychologist for like 6 years, right? So nabanggit mo nga na you didn't have this kind of concern, you have this kind of disorder pala. Sorry for the term. Right? So you really have to work with them, and sila psychologists, they are not licensed to provide medication. They help you process, and they help you basically determine yung symptoms that you have. Ang psychiatrist naman is they are licensed to provide the medication. So that's the difference between psychologist and psychiatrist. Psychiatrist is more of the medication side.
Mm. Okay.
Ayun. So they can also provide psychiatrists can also provide therapy and all, pero the psychologists are more inclined in that field, counseling and psychotherapy.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it. That's my thoughts on that.
Has there ever been an issue na parang where you feel that you can't, connect with your like you feel that your psychologist isn't um talking about the right things, and how do you deal with that? Na parang if you feel like you're still facing the same problems despite um that session?
May I answer?
Yeah.
Um, Actually, I had trouble with my psychiatrist, my first one, when I was a teen, and it wasn't because she wasn't capable. It was because she was definitely was, but then she was how do you say this nicely? She was older in age, so every time I came to visit her, I had to repeat what I said because she would always forget, and I felt like she wasn't resonating with me. I felt like she wasn't listening to me, but of course I had to realize na she was just forgetful. But then I also felt with my previous psychiatrist, my first one, was that she
Mhm.
wasn't empathetic. And no matter what, she
Mm,
always sided with my parents, especially when I had an issue with them. And I don't feel that's right in every situation. Although there are instances where my parents were right for sure, and I realized that at a later age. But then it's nice to have a psychiatrist that actually talks to you, because sometimes I'll be honest when I say there are many psychiatrists out there that just want to prescribe you meds, because that's really their job. That's what differentiates them from psychologists, because psychologists
mm,
are more of the talkers, but they can't prescribe medication without a psychiatrist help, because the psychiatrists are the ones that go to med school, diba? So they're
mhm.
prescribe medication. But then I'm sorry to say there are some out there that that's all they'll do. They'll just prescribe meds. So it's really important to find a psychiatrist that is willing to empathize with you, willing to talk to you and give you advice, because that's what helped me so much. And it really
Mm.
helped me with my journey in so many ways. And I wanted to answer your question regarding dependency when it comes to medications. Yes, it's possible. It's very much possible, especially for addictive medications like sleep medication for those with insomnia, or also those
Mm.
who need relaxation medication like Rivotril or Xanax. Those are very
Yeah.
addictive. And I've heard of people who would abuse them, and it's very wrong. You should not do that. But just because there are some medications that are addictive or where you get too dependent on them, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't take any medications at all. If your psychiatrist tells you you need to take medication, you need to take medication, because and she knows, he or she knows that it'll help you greatly. But there are some instances where you feel that you're too dependent on it. Like
Yeah.
I said, just they will minimize the dosage and it'll help you, but then don't completely get yourself off of it. That's very dangerous because you can relapse. If I can
Ah.
share a short experience, um, I take injections every month. It's called Abilify Maintenance. It's like the pill Abilify, pero in injection form, because I'm not religious with pills. So I take the injection form every month. So yeah, that makes it very easy for me, and it comes out the same price as the pills if you take it every day. So perfect. Pero there was one time I was in denial and I wanted to prove myself that I don't need it. I can survive without it and I'll be okay. I just feel na I want to lead a life that doesn't require any medication. So I went on 8 months without my medications in 2019, and that resulted in a visit to the ER because I was doing really badly. So that I just want to show you how important it is to take your medications. And if you're in denial about your medications, talk to your doctor about it. They'll help you no matter what. So don't because off your medication is also like a form of self-diagnosis that you don't need it. And that's very
Ah.
so do not get yourself off a medication. Go to your psychiatrist. They might tell you to take a lower dosage, but if the psychiatrist doesn't tell you to get off of it, don't get off of it. They know much more than you do. They went to school, everything. Okay, not everything, but they know how to handle certain situations such as these. So trust them. You really have to trust them, and they will help you in so many ways possible. Believe me. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Yup. I mean, I maybe for a lot of people, for some people that I know, that they're very hesitant when it comes to medication because of that. But I think if you put it, if you compare it to the need for it, then obviously you have to take, or you have to take with the advice of your doctors. Um, Anyone wants to share as well? All okay. Well, okay. So here's something naman. Like, what's that I want all of you guys to answer naman. what message would you guys have for our viewers who are struggling? Could be like technical, could be like some advice that you're sitting on or thinking of. Pat, let's start with you.
Okay. Actually, what advice would I give
Yeah,
to people?
who are
Okay, so
struggling maybe.
people who are struggling with mental health should first, I guess, question themselves: Is this normal? What I'm feeling? Is this normal? Because it all stems from there. If you don't think that anything is, if you think it's normal, um, maybe it is. Okay. You know what? I'm not an expert on this. I can't really advise, but personally, this is just a personal advice. It's not a financial advice. This is not an expert advice, but try to ask questions. Try to ask if it's actually something most people feel. Ask your friends about it. Talk to your peers about it. They're probably gonna be a little more open about your ideas, about what you're feeling. Because it's not only you. I want to point out that anyone who is feeling like it's not normal, maybe it's not normal, and find someone, an expert, who can tell you that it's not normal. um, and what I'd advise is do some physical activity too. Uh, and that's where I will plug Alpha Spa. Uh, so I just want to plug this in. I worked with
Go ahead.
Metro Psych Institution just last year um with them. Sorry, I worked with them, and I asked I asked them to paint. I wanted to see what these people actually have within themselves that they can't really speak into words or type into words for this matter. And so this is what I created. This exhibition, Alpaspa, I wanted to see who the people are, what is going through their heads, what they're going through, I guess, what their diagnosis or what they're in the psychiatric institution for. But of course, it's not something that we can just like say, oh, ganyan pala depression yung itsura ng art painting na yan. No, it's not like that. I just wanted to see how they can express themselves. So one thing that I would advise people is to express yourself. Can be with your friends, can be through your work, can be through your hobbies, and most especially through painting. Painting, artworks, and the like.
Speaking of paintings and artworks, has anyone been doodling? Yes, great. Wait, okay, so yeah, let's get na lang everyone's everyone's thoughts on what message they want to share, and then maybe afterwards we can share our doodles. Okay. Hazel, do you have some advice on our audience or people who may be struggling, or maybe your peers, your friends that you want to talk to about this?
Maybe learn to trust and love yourself first.
Yes.
So you can reach out to people, so you can be open to other people.
Yeah. Okay.
And for your past experiences, forgive people so you won't hold any grudges.
Okay.
That's
Yes.
it.
Thank you. Eli or Michaela? Actually, you know what? Yeah, it's really important to forgive people, and also just as what you were saying, na parang be open to this and to talk about it. And I think that's what we're doing. And I think that's what you're saying here in the chat. You're here to listen, which is also a good start in, mental health awareness. Okay, anyone else wants to share their message? Okay naman.
I can share.
Yes, Michaela, go.
So my message for the listeners out there and to everyone is to never be afraid to ask for help also. And even in the smallest way possible, even if it's not super mental health, as long as it's how can I lead a better day in my life, how can I improve this or that, how can I improve myself, never be afraid to ask questions or ask for help, because asking for help is the start of your mental health awareness journey and also your journey towards becoming a healthier person mentally and physically. So never be afraid to ask for help in any form. And also, if you feel that you are mentally ill in any way, if you're exhibiting symptoms, please seek a medical professional's advice. They will help you, and don't forget about the support system that you have. You have friends, you have family, you have even strangers that are willing to help you. So ask for help from them. They will always be there for you. People love you. People love everyone. Trust me. Everyone will find a way to help you feel better. So ask for help, even not professionally right away if you don't feel like you're ready for that. But most definitely ask for help from anyone close to you or anyone you feel that can give you the best advice. But also ask for help from the right people. You don't want to ask for help from someone who'd give you the worst advice in the world. So make sure it's someone you know and trust, someone you feel that can resonate with you, and can give you great advice. So that's my take on this, and that's my answer.
Yay! Thank you. Eli?
Hello. With regards sa advice with everyone listening, then I just want to inform na sometimes kasi they think na when asking for help, it's expensive, lalo na for mental health, right? Lalo na dito sa Philippines, I know that a lot of people will say na hindi nila kaya mag-invest on it too much kasi expensive and all. But I really identify with what Michaela said, that even kahit hindi professional, you can just talk, not really they would provide professional advice, but expressing yourself, it really helps sobra. And another thing is, with the pandemic and everything that's going on, anxiety and sadness, it is really normal this time, in this time. So do not pressure yourself. Parang ang dami-dami na ng pressures personally and with the pandemic. It's normal. You don't have to process everything right away. We all have different timetables. So some may be successful earlier than others, but that's okay. Iba-iba tayo ng kinalakihan, iba-iba tayo ng childhood support system, work, social status, and you don't have to keep up with everything or with everyone. We have our own capabilities and potentials, and just don't try to pressure yourself. And with the bad news that's going around, yung mga cases and everything, try to filter kung ano ang best para sa'yo. Lalo na prevalent ang social media and digital, ang communication ng lahat. We have different kinds of perspectives, different kinds of news. Try to filter lang ang kung anong beneficial sa'yo mentally. If you think that it's your trigger or it's too disturbing, just a little bit of advice, you can block them. You have every right. Kasi mental health mo yan eh. Utak mo yan, puso mo yan. You have control over that. I'm not saying na you have to snap out of it right away, pero just remember na your concern or your discomfort does not own you. You own yourself. You have control over it. It's good that we take time to sit down with our feelings, emotions. We feel it. We express them in a way. If gusto mo umiyak, if you want to draw, if you want to do art, that's your thing. No one will judge you on that. Kasi personally, that's how you heal yourself. And that's okay. No one will judge you for that. And yun lang, that's it. I just want you guys to know rin na no one can invalidate your feelings talaga. Big or small, no one has the right to do that. And yeah, that's it. And we're also here as well to help you express yourself. Kahit ano pang issue yan or any concern that you have, our group as well, sorry, onting plug din, magpa-plug din ako. Yung mental health group din namin, we're here too. You can talk to us, you can PM us. Yeah, we will definitely listen. We don't have any we listen not to fix you, we listen not to respond kung anong sasabihin namin. We just want then for you guys to know that we're here for you. We will listen and you're in a safe space. We won't judge. And yun lang po. Stay safe sa lahat.
Hey, okay. Oh, where, if ever, like, where can they message you for any help on that?
For that, also, I just want to educate then with regard to mental health, right? For everyone naman to, sa Philippines, we have a mental health law. I believe you already know that. It started 2 years ago, right? So, mental health law, it was established, and just to give you information, free po ang consultation, psychological consultation. That's what the law entails. You can go to any hospital na may psychiatric services. They should provide you free consultation and free medication. You can search it na sa mental health law ng Philippines. So ayun.
Okay. Yay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tapos, I think we have a question here from other than awareness or education, how can we improve the state of the Filipinos' mental health? Actually, I think you guys have answered it naman, on especially with medication and therapy and avoiding self-diagnosis. So thanks for that. And before we end, can we see your drawings? Show us your drawings. And no judgment. I think this is, ooh. Hang on, I just need to.
I'm sorry, it
Oh.
doesn't look that good.
No, it's great. This is a doodle session lang. Reminds me, I should drink water. Can we see yours, Pat? Also, share yours, Rin. Yay, thanks, Eli.
Thank you.
I actually also made 2 drawings. I don't know which one I want to share. Do I have to share both?
Go lang.
Okay. I don't know if you see it properly. So, the first thing I drew was a ship with a person in it, like in the ocean. And then the person who's on the ship that's afloat is very happy because he's afloat, he's safe and everything. But suddenly the ship starts sinking. So and then the ship goes down the bottom of the ocean, hits rock bottom. But then the swimmer, I'm not the swimmer, the person ends up swimming and goes back up and finds an island. So it's like a message from me saying that once you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up. So yeah.
That's great.
And the other one is me when I'm in my mental health day in Medusa.
I love that.
I didn't know what to do. Yeah, that's how I feel on my mental health day. I feel like there's snakes in my hair controlling me. So yeah, that's it.
Yay, thank you, Kyla. Pat, you have, I can share mine, but nahiya ako. I did a bunch. I think I was trying to draw Eli, but then because her photo was there, but then it's messy, so I'll just show this one. So it's a girl, and then my Aisha. I don't know why, but it's just on my, that's just on my mind. Maybe because I think I drew the eye because I just was thinking of like awareness or extra parang, oh, sorry, got a phone. Awareness, so maybe that's what manifested in my drawings. I don't know. But yeah, Pat, how about you?
For me naman, can you hear me?
Yes.
I will put the spotlight. Okay, so for me naman, I drew this on my phone. Uh, doesn't mean anything. I just like what it looks like. So this is what I
Yeah.
like. Yeah. That's the
There.
great thing about art. You just express what's inside, but something that you can't really speak into words. So
Yeah. Oh, Marin didn't see Tris.
yeah,
Tris,
can I see, Tris?
yeah, Tris. Open your camera. We want to see. No, saan na siya?
Hello po.
Yay!
Hello po.
Hi,
Gusto
Tris.
ko po ipakita yung art ko po at ano po siya sa topic natin. Kinakabahan po ako. So ito po yung ano ko, yung ginagawa ko po.
Wow!
Digital po siya. So yung mga ginadrawing ko po about din po sa mga feelings ng tao po. So, digital ko po siya ngayon. So, sumakto po siya sa plate ko po. So, ito po siya. Ayan po. Ako po ito. So, kaya po siya may ganyan po sa, mapapansin niyo po, mayroon pong ano sa bibig po. That's me po, ano po. Hindi ko po nilalabas yung feelings ko po. Lagi ko lang pong sinasarili, parang ganun po. Hindi ko po alam kung kaya ko po ilabas sa tao. Dito ko na lang po siya ine-express po sa mga gawa ko po. And this is my, ano po, emotion po. At ito po yung mga tao po na nagbibigay po ng lakas sa akin. Yung mga tao po. Yan po. Yun lang po yun. So,
How?
yun po.
That's so
Thank you
cool.
po. Thank you.
Yay! Thanks so much for sharing, Tris.
Ang galing! Wow!
Wow! Oh, Ged. Nag-drawing ka ba? Or... Wow! Thanks so much, you guys. Anyways, so happy naman that everyone was able to share. Well, most of us was able to share. For everyone listening also, we're so grateful rin na you're here, that you're listening, you want to learn as well. We've learned a lot and we're super grateful for everyone who made the time to be here. And yeah, if everyone has anything else to say, they can add it here. But other than that, thanks so much. And tomorrow we'll have a session with Mr. Gary D at 2 p.m. as well. On Pat, you wanna add something about that?
Okay, so
Rin?
tomorrow, in partnership with Miss Eli's group,
Wait lang po.
okay. So yeah, in partnership, we actually tapped Miss Eli's group and asked about if there's an expert that can talk to us tomorrow at around 2 p.m. I'll be showing the drawings that we made today. Maybe he can say something about it. But tomorrow's discussion will be mostly about the general welfare of the Philippines in terms of mental health. And so I invite you guys to join tomorrow, same time, same place. And yeah, so I also want to plug this Alpa Spa. Let me show it. This is Alpa Spa made by Kate's older sister.
Can I still join tomorrow? Sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yay, fun.
Okay, so you can find the Alpa Spa exhibition online art auction. This will run up to April 30 or 31. You can place your bids on Facebook. All the proceeds will be going to our partner institution which is Metro Pysch Institution found in Pasig City. And I'm really glad that everyone is here to join us with this discussion. Thank you for all the participants who joined us, and especially you, Kate.
Okay. Yeah. I think Pat pretty much summarized everything. And hope everyone has a good weekend. Okay. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you.
Guys, before you go, can we have a
Oh yeah,
selfie
let's have a
picture?
picture.
I ended Facebook na. So yeah. I just ended Facebook. So
Okay.
can we have a photo if you are willing to join?
Okay.
Trish, good. Trish,
Show
good.
your face.
Trish, good. Trish, good.
Okay, I'll
Picture,
screenshot.
picture.
Okay. Si Ged na lang.
Get Eli, you want to join? Ano yung content
Oh.
natin na?
Oh. Is that coffee? I want more coffee.
Hey, everyone! May mga
Yay!
video naman pala kayo eh!
Ngayon lang. Okay, sige. Well, pwede naman i-photoshop mo ka ni Ged. Just
Sige.
kidding. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Smile! Yay! Okay, got the photo. I can send it here in the chat as well if you'd like. Or actually, we'll just tag na lang in stories.
Ay, wait, si
Okay,
Get. He
thank
will join
you.
daw.
He will daw.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Join,
Ged,
Get. Delete,
saan ka
delete.
na?
Before delete. By the way, everyone, can you kindly send me a quick photo of your artwork so we can show it tomorrow with Gary D. Mr.
Okay.
Gary D.
Okay.
I don't know if he has something to say about it, but let's see.
I'm sure he has a lot to say about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Sige.
Take a photo.
1, 2, 3. Okay. Done.
Once again, guys, in behalf of the Gray Space, I would like to thank you all for joining this lengthy conversation. Sorry na extension ng more than 1 hour and also late tayo nag-start. But I hope you can join us also tomorrow. And I thank you. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys are okay and well. Stay safe.
Stay safe as well, Pat.
Thank
and
you.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Meeting you all
Thank
in
you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.